Everybody to Rapture watch for the 3rd of August 2017. Today I'm going to have a extremely graphic dream, and it is something that is not for all audiences. You definitely don't want kids listening to this, and if you're uncomfortable with very graphic dreams, then I highly suggest you don't listen to this video. So, I really don't fully know what this means. It's been 2 days since I had this dream, and I wasn't very comfortable sharing it because it was so graphic. And it's just I don't know what it means. It's very over the top, and so anyways, let's get to it. In this dream, there was this giant, and he was carrying this rack. Now, if you ever go to an industrial bakery or a place where people cook large quantities of either bread or baking or whatever, they have like a tray. It's like a big roll, like a thing on a roller, and it's very huge, as tall as a man. Now, in this dream, it was so horrific, but the one thing that I realized from the dream was that I was not in the dream. I was witnessing the dream. And so I didn't have any fear when I watched this. It should be a nightmare, but because I wasn't actually in the dream, I was observing it, I didn't feel fear. So, as I'm watching this thing rolling by, it has hundreds of men impaled onto this thing, and they were moving like they were dead, but they were alive. They were like zombies, but they were newly dead, and they were impaled, but they were face down. And as this thing rolled over my camera view, I guess you could call it, I could see these people, their arms and legs were moving, but they were going through, and it was everything in the background. It was outside, and it was fire, and it looked like Earth after a nuclear attack. It looked like the sky was on fire. You could see smoke, and the sun was far off, but there was so much smoke it was billowing, and this thing was rolling over my view, and these men were on this rolling, I want to call it a cage because there were bars lining, but they were all impaled on this thing, and they were moaning and groaning and in agony. And this giant was rolling this thing, and it was taking it to this furnace. And I saw the thing go into the furnace, and then quickly he opened the furnace, and as he pulled this bunch of, it was empty now, it was just ashes coming down, but there was one particular extremely graphic thing. There was a man's face. It was an Asian man's face, and for some reason I feel it was a Korean man's face, and he had no eyes, and around his eyes were cooked, like looked like a mask. It looked like a flesh mask, and you could see that it was an Asian man's face, and it was all cooked around the sides, and it was stuck on this thing, but it was upwards, where all the other men were impaled facing down. This man's face was left on the top, facing upwards, as it came by my view. And then it flashed to another part of the dream, where I was holding this kind of like binoculars. It was something you can look inside. And someone in the background said, "Are you looking at the sheet crabs?" And I didn't understand what that meant. And I must have been a giant myself, because I picked up this, I would call it a viewfinder, but it wasn't. It was like a miniature prison cell, but it was in shape of a viewfinder or binoculars where you can look into it. And it wasn't covering both eyes, it was long. And as I looked in, there was bars. But the thing I was holding, it was fleshy. And I don't know what this means, but as I put the thing up to my eyes, the scale went from me being large looking into this thing to now me being the size of the room that I was looking in. And inside this room, it looked like a cell, but it had flesh for walls, and it was pulsating, and it was wet. And I could see these big spiders inside this thing, where if somebody was to be in there, they would be eaten by these massive spiders. And I could just see their legs as they went, and they went skittled to the sides, scattered whatever to the sides of the walls, these flesh walls, where it was out of my view. And these like death shrouds were flying around inside the cell, and they were kind of like curtains, but they were flying. I couldn't see the spiders. They were kind of hidden by these death shrouds, and there was legs. I could see their legs, but I couldn't see their full bodies, and they were hiding from me. And this cell, it was like a place that was being prepared. It was like this cell in hell, and for some reason I was a giant and I could see into this thing. And like I said, the whole time I did not feel threatened at all. I felt like I was just observing the future place where people will be put. And I can't describe this one guy's face when he was impaled on this thing. And you could tell he was being cooked from the sun in the outside on this rack. And he was looking down, and you could just see that he was still there, but he was dead, but he was alive. It was just the most twisted, warped imagery. Now I don't get what this means. The Korean guy's face could mean something to do with North Korea. The fact that everything was on fire, that I could see the sun. The beginning of the dream, I was outside, I was on Earth, but it was scorched Earth. It was like literally hell on Earth. And this giant was carrying this rack of impaled people. And I didn't notice the face of the guy until after he was pulled out of this oven, which must have been inside, because as the camera rolled over, then I was into this place where they pulled out the oven, and it was just warped. It was so warped. Now I don't know exactly what it all means. I don't know what the spiders. I know some people who have spiders, that's demons. Now this could be a personal thing for me. where I felt I've had attacks and that maybe the Lord's telling me that I'm protected. But throughout this whole dream, I felt safe from this, like I was just viewing the judgment of the wicked. But nonetheless, it was quite graphic and intense. And so I just want to let you guys know, if you're not saved, you guys have to please ask Jesus into your heart. This is serious now. These dreams, they're hard to get, but I get them for a reason, so I'm sharing them. If it means something to other people, then I did my job in sharing them. I don't fully understand it, but I know that if it's a warning to people so that they will come to the Lord, then it's done its job. We know that time is short. We know that things are going down in Korea. We also know it could happen here too. So the fact that I saw an Asian man's face doesn't really mean that it's one geographical judgment location. This is for everybody, and we have to pray. We have to stay, in prayer, and pray for North Korea. Pray for people who are there that, have to deal with this madman. And, there's so many people there that don't agree with this dictator. And, there's also South Korea. And, we got to pray. We got to pray for everybody. So that's going to do it for today. I love you guys. And if I don't see you in the clouds tonight, I'll have a message for you soon. Peace be with you.